bad in warm-ups, but they actually got really good for the second half and most of the first. So I was proud of our fans. I thought they impacted the game with communication for Texas A&M. There were some big series that were backed up, 5 yards, 10 yards, for the fans affecting them. I also want to congratulate Rodrigo. That's a tremendous honor. I mean, we certainly have helped him with it because we kick a lot of field goals. But what Rodrigo has done and overcome is just a story for the ages. To be a walk-on, to not get a scholarship, to continue to work, get a scholarship, and then continue to grind and be as consistent as he has been in some of the toughest conditions this year that you could ask a kicker to kick in. He's just been tremendous, and he's really become a weapon for us. And thank goodness that he's done a great job. I thought Jake did a great job flipping the field several times with the punting. There was one time that it was probably not a good punt. It was a line drive, and it was not great coverage that was put us vulnerable. But other than that, he did a great job kicking it tonight. You know, our defense was very resilient. I thought we got tired at the end of the game, and we're going to have to overcome that because 2 weeks in a row now we've kind of lost some momentum late and struggled for a couple drives. And offensively, we've got to improve. You know, I think there's no bones about it. We've got to improve. There were things tonight that we missed that were there, and that's the frustrating thing because I'll get 100 questions about the inability to hit explosive plays, inability to hit runs. But when you get an opportunity on 1st and 10 to make the plays that we had, you got to make those. And some of that had nothing to do with calls, and some of that had to do with execution. So we share in that, I share in that, and we got to do a better job. But that's a good football team, and that's a football team that's gotten better on their side. Their team has gotten better, and we have to continue to better. The message this week was the next step is the most important step. We showed the guys some clips of a guy that broke his leg on a mountain in 1989. He's 21,000 feet in the air, and all he talked about was the next step until he got down. So for us, the next step is the most important step, and that was tonight. And now we'll move on to the next. With that, I'll open it up.
Kirby, you mentioned losing the momentum there. If you look at 4 of your wins this year, Notre Dame, Florida, Auburn, and this, in all of those games you had like double-digit leads, and then fourth quarter they kind of, I mean, does it seem like, can you remember playing 4 more similar? I know there have been differences in these games, but it seems to be a similar script in those 4 games.
Certainly does. It's an inability to put people away on both sides of the ball. You feel like you control the momentum. You feel like you should be ahead further, and you're not. And then, you know, whether you get tight, whether you lose momentum, whether they hit a couple plays, you've got to take advantage of the opportunities you have earlier. You know, we had 2 or 3 possessions that were in field goal range that felt like we were out of field goal range before the possession was over. And you can't do that and beat really good football teams. So we've got to improve.
They gave up on the run pretty much, Kurt. They had 9 yards in the 3 quarters, and of course when that touchdown drive, all 10 passes.
Yeah.
The defense tremendous to get the run again. They had the tall receivers making plays on it.
I got good wideouts. I mean, I knew that before the game. They've got exceptional wideouts. I mean, when you think about Osmond's one of the best wideouts I've seen. I mean, his lower half is like tree trunks. So, I mean, when he comes out of breaks, he's powerful, he's strong. They got big physical wideouts. And we knew that going into the game. We wanted to make them one-dimensional and try to get our hands on them and cover them. I thought that we could have affected Mon better. I don't know what we ended with sack-wise, but that one drive, you know, we couldn't get to him. You know, we were trying to get fresh rushers in. We looked tired. And to be a great defense, we can't have those kind of breakdowns.
Going back to the inability to put teams away, is there something when you look at those 4 games that you can point to and say that's what's wrong in each of those?
I can't sitting here now. I thought the ability to put them away was earlier in the game. I mean, we missed a flea flicker. We missed a wheel route. We had a couple misses where we thought that we missed a couple protections where guys beat us, and they did a good job. I mean, they have a 3rd down package I've talked about for a long time. That's really good. And where the Florida game, we struggled to move the ball, we were excellent on 3rd down. We were not very good on 3rd down tonight, and we were struggling to run the ball.
Do you have to estimate how much time, how many years this game's taken off your life in the future? In the game scenario?
A lot, but I love them. And when you talk about competitive nature, I mean, when you look at DeAndre Swift and he wants the ball in the fourth quarter and he puts the team on his shoulders and he breaks 3 tackles to get 7 yards and makes one of his best career runs, and Jake wants the opportunity to throw a strike in there to Dom when they're pressuring. I mean, some of those things were really key, and that's the one thing that has been consistent with this team. When your back's against the wall and you got to get a first down, most games they've been able to do that. This one and the Florida one, it was big. We didn't get it done against Auburn, but the defense stood up. I mean, they've done a good job with backing each other up.
Before that quick slant to Dom, there was that little dust-up between Jake and DeAndre. What was going on?
I wouldn't call it a dust-up. I mean, it's just he was frustrated. It was a situation where we don't run that play into a pressure from that side. They did a good job disguising it. We had told Jake to milk the clock. So when you milk the clock, you can't change the play. You milk the clock, you got to run the play. So it wasn't a great play into that, but that's called passion. It's not dust-up. That's love. When you have a family, your family don't always get along, right? But they love each other. And those 2 young men love each other as much as anybody.
Are you concerned about Jake on any level at this point? You mentioned some of the plays that they were definitely open. I know he used the glove part of the time, not using part of the time. It seems like a little bit off these last few games.
Well, I mean, he made some back shoulder throws that were pretty special. I mean, he hit Kieris, he hit Tyler, he hit George. He did some really good things. So concern is not there. I want to get better. The kids want to get better. Everybody's like, well, what's wrong with the offense? Well, when the offense stays aggressive and we mix things up, we hit some inside runs, outside runs, we're better. But we're also playing a stretch run of some pretty good defenses. And I know that defense hadn't played good all year, but they played good recently. And I got a lot of respect for their defense and the way they played tonight.
What happened with Stokes? We didn't see him out there late in the game.
He got dinged up. I'm not even sure how bad it is. I don't even know if he could have came back. I mean, we rotate the 3 corners, and he wasn't cleared to come back.
Do you have a chance to experience any emotions in the senior day salutes pregame, or are you just trying to get through it?
It was tough, this one. I mean, this one was – I mean, they're all emotional, but you can't not be more attached to these kids you've been with longer. And there were guys that I was only with 1 and 2 years. This group – it really hit home with me. It was unfortunate that it was in those weather conditions, and I felt like it was bad because our players were trying to get into the locker room out of the rain, and I'm trying to share a moment with them, and it's tough because they're not dying to sit there and take a picture with me, but I'm dying to see their family and what they've given. And let's talk about, and I'll forget somebody, but Daniel Gothard, walk-on O-lineman, comes from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's probably taken 2,000 snaps at offensive line. I mean, he actually went with the 2s last week and went down and went with the 1s and 2s because we were down linemen. And he got to go out on that field. Josh Moran, Burke, I mean, Kobe Pierce from Cairo, Georgia. I mean, there's so many guys that have given so much. Antonio Poole, given so much to this program and never once got any part of the limelight. And that's their opportunity to do that, And I like it when you get to honor those guys in front of everybody in the stands. And that was tough because the weather conditions weren't great. Yeah, we thought that he would be able to go. He practiced during the week. He was obviously not 100% during the week, and we wanted to see him go in warm-ups and cut it loose, and he didn't feel that he could. And he tried to practice all week, and it's one of those deals you say, why don't you just shut him down? Well, shutting him down doesn't necessarily get him healthy either, and he doesn't take the hits and the pounding during the week. So it's one of those, he's helping take a little mileage off the other guys, and he's also staying fresh in the offense. Sometimes when you step away, you get away. So it's not his legs that are tired. It's his injury, and he just didn't feel comfortable that he could go. And it was tough conditions. We knew that it was going to be tough conditions. So having a healthy guy out there helps.
Tyreek Stevenson, just a freshman, but he had another key pass breakup. Can you just talk about putting a guy out there with that level of experience and where he's at right now?
Yeah, he made a huge play. That was a big play in the game, but he was wrong. So he makes mistakes each and every game. Missed a tackle. He had a couple busts. So, my concern with Tyreek is you need to worry about execution and not results. I think everybody looks at it and says, oh, unbelievable play, true freshman, he's out there. We got other kids that can make that play too, and if they're in the correct leverage, then I would argue they could play over him. So he has to earn that right by how he practices, and he's got to continue to do that.
I know they threw the ball well in the second half, but I mean, this is a team that has top 10 recruiting classes like you guys do. To hold a team to -1 rushing yards, what is that?
Well, it probably makes you more vulnerable in the pass. you know, and we thought that they have an excellent receiving core and a quarterback that can scramble. That was my biggest concern in the game, was being able to cover them and then him take off. Because a lot of the guys that are up there, and he, you know, I don't know how many he rushed for, but he certainly had some positive scrambles. So that was the dynamic. We played some other really good wideouts, but they didn't have a quarterback that would take off running like him. So I thought our defensive staff, once again, you know, they did an excellent job of having our group prepared. You know, those critical 3rd and 1s, you know, people don't talk about a 3rd and 1 where you stop a quarterback sneak. That team was like 12 for 12 on the year on sneaks. They're the best sneak team I've ever seen. So I took it to our offense and said, here's how you run a sneak. They haven't been stopped. And then our guys go out there and stop them and bring up, I think we stopped them, and then brought up a 4th down maybe after that. Then they got a penalty. So I don't know the exact chain of events, but I know they didn't get the sneak. And that was a lot of credit to our staff and the preparation.
Did you know going in you were going to run an onside kick in this game? Is that something you picked up on film coming in?
I didn't know that I was going to run it, but we were prepared for it. I mean, meaning we worked on it and we prepared it, and we thought it was there, and it was. And Rod hit a perfect kick. We just didn't execute it. It's frustrating because we worked really hard on that, and I'm one of those people that says, if it's there, you do it, and that's what you do.
Where did you learn that risk appetite?
I don't know that you learn that. I think it's important to always make people defend you. So if you just take the casual position that I'm not going to try to get every advantage in a game, then you don't take advantage of the game. And we have a big staff, so we're constantly looking at what opportunities we have to gain a possession. I'm big on how do you gain one possession in a half. Timeouts, 2-minute drives, and that was an opportunity to gain a possession that we thought was there, and it was.
Going back to the slant route to Dominic, I mean, you guys are 2nd and 12 right there. Can you take us to kind of the conversation to put the ball in the air, and then on top of that to go with a quick pitch type play to DeAndre? I mean, those are 2 plays that could have, you know, put you guys in a bad spot there.
They could,
Right.
but every play you call could. So, I mean, I'm probably the world's worst. Our offensive staff probably hates me because every call is not a good call until it works. You know what I mean? I mean, you say, what do you want to do, 2nd 12, run it? That's what they expect us to do, you know? So I thought Coley did a tremendous job. And, you know, they're second-guessing because you're sitting there going, is that the right call? Is that the right decision? And when somebody's got everybody in the box to stop the run, that's a pretty good call. And I don't think they were expecting it. And then the 3rd down call, Coach Pittman helped out with, and you know, so they had to sell out to stop it. And you give it to your best player with a couple good players out there with him. Great job. I was worried about the last 3rd down, but the 3rd and 1, but they did it. The offense did an excellent job. They prepared, they executed, they made the call.
You said earlier that Jake wanted that slant, though. Did he kind of talk you into it?
Jake wanted that
He
slant.
said he wanted to throw the strike. You said he wanted to throw.
Yeah, no, not in that situation, not that one. It was earlier. You know, he wants to be able to change it up. He wants to be able to, we called it a 4 verts early in the game to George on a 1st and 10 and hit it, and it was big. Jake made a great throw on that ball. Great read, great throw. Jake's I mean, we got to give him those opportunities, and we got to win outside. I thought our guys won outside some today, and that was big.
Following up on Rodrigo, can you take me into the locker room and told him about the score record? What were those emotions like?
You know, everybody loves Rod. I mean, it sounded like our student section. Our players went nuts, and Rod took a bow, and Rod didn't say much. I mean, he just smiles and does his job. That's all he does. Yes, sir, Coach.
Where's Jordan Davis improved the most over the course of this year?
You know, I don't know that. You know, Jordan Davis played better last year a lot of times than he's played this year. And I've talked to him about it a lot. And if Jordan's going to be the player that he can be, he's got to make a commitment to excellence. And I love him as a kid. He's a great personality. I mean, he is so much fun to be around. But he hasn't scratched the surface of what he can be. He's got to make a commitment to excellence that I just don't know if he's made yet. And he did some good things tonight. And he's had some injuries. To his credit, now he's had an ankle injury, and you know he missed 2 practices this week because he wasn't able to practice. He had some Achilles issues, and we didn't know if he was going to be able to play. And he did some good things in the game.
To this point, the defense is probably one of the top you coached to this point. They've given over 20 points to South Carolina. Held the team tonight, averaging 33 to 13. They held point-wise down.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I keep hearing how we don't play any quarterbacks. We don't play anybody that's any good. So, I mean, they just keep trying to do their job. and the staff deserves the credit. The players probably deserve the most credit. The buy-in on that, those guys just, I mean, you got to see the way they practice and the energy they come to meetings with, and the embracing of the packages. And Dan does a tremendous job. Schumann, all those guys, Charlton and Trey, do a great job. And we've got some young players in that unit. So I'm very proud of the way they've worked. And the best thing is they've supported the offense through some of the struggles, and they compete hard at practice. They respect each other.
Two more questions?
You have not to have to go against that Old Tech offense?
You know, I'd say yeah, but watching them the other night, they had some elements, and they've got an athletic quarterback. They can run some of those same things from different looks, and so it'll be a different preparation for us. But I know our guys will be looking forward to it.
Kirby, DeAndre keeps turning out 100-yard games. I mean, how impressive is that?
I don't think the guy gets enough credit. I mean, it just baffles me. I guess people, the expectation is that he's going to have 250 and 300, but I don't even know, like, who in the SEC is close to him in rushing yards. Like, what back out there is putting out 100-yard games against these caliber of defenses? I mean, it's crazy to me what he's been able to will himself to. He made 2 catches tonight, shoestring catch, barely got his hands on one, so it was a huge conversion. And his passion comes out in the players, and I love him for it. I mean, I love him for it. I think he's been a tremendous competitor, and he affects everybody around him. Thanks so much. Go Dogs.